Hey everybody, it's Dr. Carmen Bryant. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you guys, as always, for being here with me. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you guys. You guys hold on my computer. I started talking. Also, my computer started doing something. There we go. Got the light back. But thank you guys so much for being here. So today I wanted to talk about, let's talk about these. I don't know what the title is yet, but it's probably going to be based on the topic, right? But the title, let's see. Let's talk about these repetitive, dysfunctional, narcissistic cycles. Okay. You know, I come up with a title like afterward. After I post a video, I have a real title, but this is so you get you guys in the mindset of what I'm going to talk about. So let's look at some definitions. I want to show you guys something really quick, right? You guys understand, I'll probably do a podcast tomorrow. I need to update my podcast. So I'll probably do a podcast tomorrow focused on not the Pavlov theory of the salivating dog, but basically, yeah, but it's classical conditioning. And I want to talk to you guys about how these narcissists are conditioning you, because some of you guys are in these repetitive cycles and lifestyles with this narcissist. When you're coming out of this relationship, you guys have this void, you're discarded or you have to discard. Then you have these void in your life, what causes you to ruminate, the rumination in your, ruminating, there we go, ruminating. And so you have these voids now because many years that you have spent with this individual or the time that you spent with this person in your home, there is now voids. There are gaps there and you have to find a way to fill those gaps. And some of you guys are so accustomed to being with this person, and it's not the fact that it got to a point where you no longer want to be with a person. It's the familiarity. You have been with that person for so long, you have become familiar with that person just being in the house. You don't want to have anything to do with them, and you want to get rid of them. But you know that there's going to be some withdrawals. There's going to be some things that you're going to have to do to heal thyself, little healers, but let's talk about some stuff because I'm going to take you into the military with me, okay? So I'm going to lead you into the military. We're going to talk like soldiers. I'm going to teach you some stuff that we had to learn as soldiers too, but I want to teach you something. So first of all, let's look at the term repetition. And so I didn't pull up the sites because I'm kind of looking in the little blocks in here, so I can't tell you where it comes from. I have my glasses on either, but can't tell you what site it comes from. This one here says, repetition is the mother of all learning. The ancient Athenians created democracy, modern philosophical thinking, and even the first great physical education program. It's like the military has a physical fitness program, but a physical education program. A core, and I'm going to tell you why I'm telling you this. A core Athenian concept was picked up by the Romans, who turned it into a proverb. Now, I probably mispronounced this, but hopefully I get it right. Repetitio mater studiorum, or repetition is the mother of all learning. Foundation, repetition, foundation. Now, repetition does not mean you get understanding. Repetition means that you're creating a habit. You're going to create a habit. Repetition creates a habit. It's almost like muscle memory, but muscles don't really have memories, but it's like muscle memories, but you create a repetition. Repetition creates a habit. So or a habit, or we'll get to it. So here on this other article, it says, while I have denounced mindless consumption and superficial understanding, I cannot overstate the importance of repetition for mastery. Repetition for mastery. Repetition for mastery. You guys write that down. We're in a teaching mode, okay? I cannot overstate the importance of repetition for mastery. Repetition for mastery. Repetition is foundational in strength training. Repetition is foundational in strength training. Now, even though we're talking about physical fitness or physical training, just remember that repetition is foundational in strength training. Many approaches avoid substantial repetition for fear of boredom. So now let's go to cycles. A series of events. This is the definition from, I think this is just the web. I didn't look at any specific encyclopedia, any specific dictionary. So this is the web on Bing or Google, one of them. So a cycle is a series of events that are regularly There you go. Repeated in the same order. Think about what the narcissist is doing. Repetitiously training you to create a cycle in your life, to create a cycle. They're using repetition. Remember what repetition is? They're using repetition. It is the mother of all learning, repetition. They use repetition because they're going to figure you out, figure what type of person you are, figure out your lifestyle. So why each individual person is different. They have to figure out your flow. They have to figure out your momentum. They got to figure out how you think, what is important to you. So once they got all this information, they put it in there, they begin to create repetitious training with you. Repetition is the foundational and strength training. Repetition, now they're repetitiously creating a series of events that are regularly repeated in the same order. What does that mean? What that mean, Doc? Auntie, some of y'all call me Auntie. What that mean, Auntie? Sit down, nieces and nephews, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you, soldiers. Think about if you go on the web and you go to, the National Domestic Violence Hotline online. It'll give you the cycles of abuse. Then if you go look at the 3 phases of narcissistic relationship, and you can put those 2 together. Remember, narcissist abuse is domestic violence. Whoever says narcissism is domestic violence, that's not what I said. Go back and look at the title. Narcissistic abuse is domestic violence. Y'all heard me. But if you take the cycles of domestic violence, right? The cycles are the honeymoon phase, the tension building, the blow up, the honeymoon phase. Actually, I use the 4 cycles. Let me see if I can find the 4 cycles for you. Give me a minute. I use the 4 cycles. Where are the 4 cycles? Let me find the 4 cycles for you guys. Where is it at? Okay, so I don't have the 4 cycles written here. Where is the cycles? Okay, I didn't write the 4 cycles down, but I usually use the 4 cycles, and I'm trying to think where I put it. I wrote it somewhere, but I can't. Just go look up the 4 cycles of domestic violence, right? So you look up the 4 cycles of domestic violence. Then you have the 3 phases of narcissistic relationship. 3 phases of narcissistic relationship: love bombing, devaluation, discard. Now, you can put those 2 models together, right? Because during the lifetime of the relationship, these are the cycles that you go through. So whether you've been with this person a year, 2 years, 20 years, 50 years, these are consistent, repetitious cycles that have been created in your life. This is where the trauma bonding, this is the definition, trauma bonding, because these are the cycles, the cycles, the cycles. Then on top of that, the cycles, remember, a series of events that are regularly repeated in the same order. Some of you know when the person that you're with, that narcissist, is going to discard. You know when there's certain things happen, you could pick up the series, the cycles. It's like seasons. Seasons they come in. When things, when the leaves start falling from the trees, it's an indicator that fall is coming. Then all of a sudden the trees are naked, and it starts getting cold. Winter is coming. Once, all of a sudden the ice starts, if you have snow, the ice starts melting and everything. And all of a sudden you see these, these fresh little plants and everything, spring is coming. Once, everything is in full bloom, you feel it getting warm outside, summer is coming, right? The cycles of seasons. A woman has a cycle. A cycle is an indicator of something. Usually the cycle of a woman is an indicator that she's capable of giving birth, that she can produce a child, that she can, she ovulates. There's a cycle. There's so many days, and then she ovulates. The egg has to be fertilized. Once the egg is fertilized, it connects. If not, it just goes through the cycle. It comes back out, and it cleans the body back out, right? Everything has a cycle. In life, everything has a cycle. The narcissists create repetition cycles. Those, remember the 4, you got to go look them up. The 4 cycles of abuse, and then you take the 3 narcissistic phases of relationship, put them together. These are the cycles that are created in your life. These are the cycles that are constantly repeated over and over again throughout the lifetime of the relationship when you're with that narcissist. You have to break the cycle, and how you break the cycle is you discard. Whether they discard or you discard, that breaks the cycle. The way that you enter back into the cycle is when you fall for the Hoover. And it's like you get hoovered right back into the cycle. So you're right back in. It's like imagine yourself being in a dryer, just tumbling around, trying to reach for the door to get back out of the door. Most of you guys are living like that. You're looking at us through the window like, help me to stop this cycle. The cycle has to run its course so it can stop, right? But you can break the cycle by deciding I'm going to kick the door up open and I'm going to discard and jump out. Sounds easy. Okay, so check this out. So every habit is different and every human being is different. So don't expect different people to change in the same period of time. So it talked about it can take anywhere from 18 to 2, depending on the person. It can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days for a person to form a new habit, and the average of 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic. You done created a lifestyle. Well, when you're with that narcissist, imagine the amount of time they're using that repetition to create these, to create these cycles in your life, to create these habits in your life. These habits become a lifestyle. And then let me go back. So they're using repetition to create a cycle. The cycle is now creating a habit, and the habit is now creating a lifestyle. They've created a dysfunctional lifestyle in you. You are so accustomed to living that way that even when you come out, some of you guys have not broken the habit. Some of the ways that you handle each other, some of the way that you handle other people, some of the ways that you think and the way that you act. Sometimes the reason why you think you're a narcissist is because you have picked up on the habits of the narcissist. They've created these life cycles, this dysfunctional lifestyle, these dysfunctional habits in your life. And these are the cycles. So even when you break and you decide that you're going to get away from them, it takes a minute for you to change yourself. You got to go back. Most people say 21 days creates a new habit, and then after that is 90 days to 66 to 90 days to create a lifestyle, So you have to remember you're having to recreate your whole self. It's like going into a house and doing a reconstruction or renovation in a house. You totally have to go in and rebuild that foundation. You have to recreate your whole life because this person has created this dysfunctional cycles in your life. Now, let me get to the military part. Let me show you what I'm talking about. In the military, all of our training is repetition. Everything that we do is repetition. In the very beginning, as a private, when we come in, we learn the basic soldiering stuff. Basic stuff like how to wear your uniform, how to salute, how to do, basic stuff. You do it enough, it becomes repetition. Now it's a lifestyle. That is what we do. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. There's certain lifestyle. You could tell a military individual because there's certain training that they've had that has integrated and became a lifestyle for them. Even when we come out of the military, some of us, you can tell by the way that we talk, but you can tell by the way that we explain, the way that we teach, the way that we are. There's a lifestyle that we have that, we as veterans, as family, some of you guys are my comrades, family, you can tell. And we can tell. We can pick it up quicker than most people can because we lived that life. That was our life. We created new habits, different habits. There's certain work ethics we have. There's certain ways that we conduct ourselves. Yes, sir, no, ma'am, the way that we are. That's a lifestyle. But it started off with repetition, having to do it over and over and over and over again. And it became a lifestyle for us because that was a part of our community. So training is the same way. Training is repetition. Physical fitness training. In the very beginning in basic training, we're introduced to a new lifestyle where we're introduced to repetitiously getting up at a certain time. Now we got to break our old habits. We have to break old habits. That's why most of us are in basic training anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, depending on your military occupational specialty, MOS. And so you're in there for 6 weeks, and in there for 6 weeks, you are creating repetitiously getting up at a certain time because you're creating a new lifestyle. You're creating new habits. Well, you're creating new habits to create a new lifestyle. You're creating new habits. Then every morning at 6 o'clock or at 6:30, depending on, where you're at, 6 o'clock, 6:30, you get up and you get up to go and do physical training. Well, when you go and do physical training and basic training, you've never done physical training before, so you're breaking the body down. So the physical fitness is introducing something new to you, and they're doing repetition. Every morning when we get out there, we get in, we extend to the left, march, arms downward, move, left face, extend to the left, march, arms downward, right face. No. All that good stuff. From front to rear, count off. From second, whatever, to the left, uncover, whatever. Okay. There you go. You guys know I used to give those commands. But so now the first, and I still remember it because I used to have to do it. I did it as a private, then I did it as a senior leader. First thing we're going to do is rotational exercises to get the lactate out of your arms, whatever, So we're going to do rotational exercise. The next exercise we do, we're going to do stretching exercises. After we do the stretching exercise, we do everything from the head down to the feet, So then we do stretching exercises. After we do stretching exercises, we may do some strengthening exercises, push-up, sit-ups, strengthening exercise. After we do some strengthening exercise, we're going to do cardiovascular exercises. So then they built this into a habit where Monday through Friday, we're going to do physical fitness. Monday, we're probably going to do, we're going to do cardio. Tuesday, we're going to do strengthening exercise. Wednesday, we're going to do cardio. Thursday, we're going to do, did we do physical training on Thursdays? Most of the time we didn't do physical training on Thursdays because we did training. And then Fridays, we did cardio. The cardio is because of the fact that we had to build up our endurance because we have to carry a lot of equipment. And so they're building our strength. They're strengthening us because we have to wear a lot of equipment. And so you have to have endurance, intestinal fortitude, and strength to carry a lot of equipment long distances without giving out. If you put a backpack on me right now, I'll probably pass out because I haven't trained like that for many years. But throughout the years I trained so much, it became a habit for me where it became easy because my muscles really don't have memory, but I had muscle memory. And so I knew exactly how to train to strengthen what muscles because I knew the type of work that we did. I knew the type of endurance I had to have. I knew I had to have, for certain things, I had to have speed. Most stuff I had to have strength. And then I had to be able to go long distances with a lot of weight. That's what messes our backs up. We had to walk with a lot of weight. But all that repetitious training, all those years, it got to a point where even running became easy. In the very beginning, running a half a mile was hard. Then we kept on doing it for 6 weeks. And then all of a sudden, we're running 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 miles, with no problem at a certain pace. Then there's also a pace. There's a momentum that we have. And if you break the momentum when we caught our second wind, because you got to catch your second wind, when you catch that second wind, you keep that momentum. But if you stop us and you break the momentum, we got to catch up and it's harder to catch up. Now, think about the repetitions. Think about the cycles, We get into the military and the one thing, apply that to what the narcissist is doing to you in the trauma bonding, in those three phases of narcissistic relationship. So if I'm telling you what's happening in the military where we're creating, repetition and cycles and lifestyles and muscle memories, and it becomes easy and something we do training repetitiously. Prime example, I was just thinking about this morning. In the military, everyone is issued an M16A2 rifle, depending on your military occupation, especially and the unit that you're in. Certain units have special gear and special weaponry. Infantry have certain weapons that they use. Snipers have certain weapons that they use. But the average basic issue of weapon is an M16A2 rifle, assault rifle. And it has three selectors, which is safe, semi, and burst. 3-round burst, right? So check this out. Every year, twice a year, we go out and we zero on the range. Zero on the range meaning that you are calibrating that weapon to your eyesight and the way that you shoot. It is battlefield. Battle or mechanically zero to the rifle, meaning it's just set. It's not really set anything. It's just flushed. But when you go out there, think about what I'm saying now. When you go out on the zero range, your job is to take that rifle, your personal rifle, take ownership of that rifle, and you have to zero that weapon, meaning you have to calibrate that weapon to your eye, to your comfort, and how you shoot. In the front, I think, is the elevation. In the back is from side to side. So the front of the right, you're looking through the sight, the rear sight, and you're looking from the rear sight to the front of the sight. And you're having to look and engage the target. And so the front, you have to line it up with the center mass of the target. Think about what I'm saying, y'all. Center mass of the target. The front is breathing. You have to have breathing. Anybody that has fired those weapons, they have to understand breathing. They have to understand that when you take that, there's a, not the forward assist, charging handle. There's a charging handle in the front. And when you that charging handle touches your nose. You have to be careful because you also have to put it in your shoulder because kickback. So that kickback will hurt your nose. Most of us have bruised noses every time we go out. But you have to zero that weapon. The front, when you adjust the front of it, it brings the weapon up or down to your sight. In the back, it brings the weapon left or right to calibrate it with your sight. I'm trying to think what I shot with my right eye. And so I was right-handed. I looked through my right eye. So I had to calibrate the weapon over to my right eye. And then I had to calibrate the weapon up and down. Think about what I'm teaching you guys. When you shoot, the closest target is 50 meters. So once you calibrate, you go to the firing range. The closest target is 50 meters. 50 meters, you got a target that's sitting on a berm. The berm is like a little mound. When you fire, you have to remember that you have projection. There's projection of the rifle. When you have projection of the rifle, you're taught and you get better with time. You have to keep doing repetition to get a feel for that rifle. And eventually you calibrate that rifle. You understand that rifle. You know that rifle. You know what it can do. You know what it feels like. And when you go fire at that, you have to hit center mass of the target. You know, when you fire, you got to shoot. Is it shoot low or shoot high? You shoot low. You shoot low because the trajectory is going out like this. So it's close. So the trajectory is going like this. You got to shoot. I think it's shoot low. You shoot low so the trajectory hit that mass. The further you go back, the furthest target is 300 meters. The further you go back, the higher you have to lift up the sight to shoot at the head of the target so that when the trajectory comes, it hits center mass. Now think about what I'm telling you guys. Repetitious training, right? I can break the weapon down. I can break the weapon down. I still understand what sports is. Sports is when there's a misfire. You have to perform sports on the rifle. It's slap the magazine to make sure the magazine is all the way in. Pull the charging handle back to see if anything falls out. Then it's observe to see if anything fall out. Release it back. Tap the forward assist. Sports. Tap the forward assist. And squeeze, shoot, right? Now imagine it's an M16A2 rifle. It has a three selectors, safe, semi, and 3-round burst. It can be fired from the lying prone position, standing, and I think kneeling. You know, you have 50 meters. I think the furthest distance point target is, if I remember correctly, 550 or 800. I'm not sure. And the maximum distance on an M16A2 rifle is 550 meters, I believe it is. The rounds that are used in it is 5.56 millimeter rounds. Those rounds in that weapon, those are for shooting personnel. A 50 cal machine gun is the rounds are longer, and those are used to pierce buildings and equipment and everything. So the average, and so the personnel may have an M9, and we have the M16. Now, think about this for a minute. Now, I have a whole conversation with you guys of things I was trying. I got out of the military in 2007. I retired in 2007. But repetition, every year, 2 to 3 times a year, we went to the range to familiarize ourselves with that rifle. Zero that weapon, make sure that we understood and we were not afraid. Anytime we did training, anytime we went to the field, you always had your rifle to keep you from being afraid of the rifle. Some people were afraid of guns and rifles, but we had that rifle with us at all time, that assault rifle, that we were not afraid of the rifle, to familiarize ourselves, to understand what that rifle can do. What do you think a narcissist is doing with you? A narcissist is calibrating himself to you, zoning into your sight, figuring out what your target is, getting his eye calibrated, really calibrated to your soul, calibrated to you, figuring out what the maximum distance I can take this person without damaging this person to a point there's no recovery. And some of them don't care. They'll take you beyond the 550 meters. They calibrate you. They know you. They're not afraid of you. And well, they are, but they get to know you. They calibrate themselves to you. That's what the mirroring comes from. They create these cycles. They get to know you. Just like I broke down, if you hand me an M16A2 rifle, I still can go out there and fire it. I can still break it down, clean it, and put it back together. I still know that you put it in the shoulder to keep you from hitting the nose. I know what it feels like. I have muscle memory with that rifle. I know what it feels like. I can shoot. I wasn't an expert. I was an expert once, but I was a sharpshooter on my rifle. I know how to fire that rifle. And if you give me extra equipment to put a scope on it, I'm even better at firing and hitting my targets. So what do you think a narcissist is doing? What do you think a narcissist is doing? That's exactly what they're doing to you. So in order to have to break these habits, some of these habits, you guys are stuck in these cycles, and you can't get out. The way that you have to break the cycles is by discarding, by going no contact. You already know that when you go no contact and you discard a narcissist, you're going to be at home and you're going to be ruminating. Not only are you going to be ruminating, that's why you got to watch the video. Not only are you going to be ruminating, you're going to be going through 7 stages of grief. And some of you are going to be stuck in the cycle of denial, anger, shock, denial, anger, shock, denial, and some of you guys are going to be going through the withdrawal symptoms, going on social media, seeing who they're with. Does he love her more than me? Does she love him more than me? You guys are going through all this, and you have to create new habits. You have to, in those places where that person was, they come home at a certain time. They do things at a certain time. Some of you guys are so bound in this cycle with these narcissists that's all you are accustomed to. You are accustomed to an unhealthy, dysfunctional relationship. So most of you guys don't even recognize when a healthy relationship comes because they have broken you in. They have created these habits, these dysfunctional cycles, and they have trained you in this dysfunctional relationship. And that's all you know. And the sad part about it is you handle people the same way. That's why a lot of you will ask, I wonder if I'm the narcissist, because some of you begin to function the exact same way because that's how they've trained you how to operate. That's how they trained you how to think. That's how they got you stuck in this cycle, because they created this cycle through repetition. There's repetition. In the military, we did training. When we did training, we learned the ABCs of first aid. Clear the airway. Check your breathing. Make sure they have circulation. Check the airway. What do you do if the airway, if there's something lodged in the airway, you know, all that good stuff. What about bleeding? Not breathing, bleeding. Check for bleeding. Are they bleeding? If they're bleeding, apply a tourniquet. Do you know how to do the steps to applying the tourniquet? Check circulation. Make sure that the heart is beating. Now treat for shock. What do you do when you treat for shock? Everything has, but think about it. Repetitious training through all those years, I can still spit it out to you. If I go right now, all I have to do is 1 or 2 more. All I have to do is get and do the training like once or twice, and then I got it, because it comes right back to me. It's repetitious training. It became a habit. There's, they train in repetition so that when things happen, it's automatic. So they've trained you a certain way in the relationship, so now they don't have to struggle with your reaction. It's automatic. You see what I mean? You have to break those automatic reactions, not responses, automatic reactions. And you have to retrain yourself by breaking those habits. By breaking those habits, meaning you have to identify some of the habits that you have and write down. And it becomes very tedious for some people, because you have to sit down. You start small. You don't start big. You start small, and you pick small things to change. And you stay with that. You stay with that new habit that you're trying to create. Give yourself calendar time. 21 to 90 days, and you every day, that is what you work on. Some of you guys can add another task on there, add another something on there, but it takes a while to break those bad habits. It takes a while to break addictions, because even addictions have bad habits that go along with it, and some people that break addictions, they are addicted to something else. And so hopefully this has helped a little bit. Now, I know I was going on a tangent. I got excited about the military, so I had to talk about it. But take that information and apply it to what you've been through. A lot of times I try to give you the information, and then you apply it to your life and how it applies to the person that you've been in a relationship with, especially the narcissist. And to understand repetition, to understand these cycles, that's how the narcissist lives. They don't live. We do things, and we think about it, and we respond, and we try to connect to people. We try to love people. They don't do all that. They don't have the capacity to love. They mimic, they mirror, and that's how they pick up these habits. Some of you guys have sexual experience with these narcissists, and some of you guys said it's very, very mechanical. They do A, they do B, they do C. They do A, they do B, they do C. They do A, they do B, they C. There's nothing spontaneous. There's nothing, there's nothing new that, we should be growing. Why are we still here? I'm bored with this, because they're mechanical. Everything, repetition. They just do the same thing over and over and over again. And some of you guys like, this is ridiculous. I can tell you exactly what's about to happen. They do this, they do this, they do this, and that's it. They do this, they do this, they do this, and that's it. You guys see the cycle. You know the cycle. Watch them. You can see the cycle. So hopefully this has helped you. Hopefully I didn't just ramble. I got excited talking about the military. Now I want to go put my uniform on. You know, I'll probably look like I don't know, like Santa Claus in some red tights. You know, if I go put my uniform on, y'all laugh at me like, what you got on? You know, be spandex uniform and stuff. Well, I just want to go put my boots on and go march around the house now. But hopefully this helped you guys a little bit to give you an understanding of how these people, really break you. Break you. Basic training breaks you. It breaks you, but it doesn't break you till you're dysfunctional. It breaks you down to the lowest denomination. And then the responsibility of the drill sergeants is to build you up to create new habits, new lifestyles. That's what the narcissist does. They come in, they break you from everything good that you've known to the lowest denomination, and then they continue to try to break you, and then they want to control you, and then they create these habits to make you dependent on them. There's nothing healthy about the relationship, period. Nothing. At least the drill sergeants break you and then build you back up into soldiers. A narcissist breaks you and tries to break you as much as they can because they feel empowered when they do it. How can you feel empowered breaking another person? I feel empowered building people up and then watching them prosper. To me, it's just horrible to see someone broken down, because what can you do for anybody? That is horrible that I caused that pain. And that's how the average person thinks. But a narcissist doesn't think that way. That's a thrill to them. You see what I mean? So hopefully this has helped you guys a little bit. Hopefully I wasn't just rambling because it's a long video. But I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe. It's Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Make sure you check out my mentor's YouTube channel. It is Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper. Make sure you subscribe and share our videos. Those of you that are looking for counseling, I cannot counsel outside of the state of Washington. In order for me to provide you with counseling services under your insurance or counseling services, period, you have to be in the state of Washington. If you want coaching services, you're welcome to email me and let me know that you're interested. You can find the email up underneath my video as Dr. Carmen Bryant at Outlook.com or in my community tab. I can provide you with coaching. There's a difference, and I do provide you paperwork to tell you what the difference is. And so what else? If you are looking for counseling, okay, sorry about that, you guys. But if you are looking for counseling, you can go to my sponsored link. It is betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen. And they give you a discount. I think they give you like a 10% discount if you tell them you're struggling with money a little bit, because they will give you, but if you tell them that, you probably need some assistance, they may offer you a grant. They do give grants to help you connect with a counselor in your area, to be a licensed counselor in your area. I also have Podbean, podcast, and my main platform that I put my podcast on is Podbean. So if you go to Podbean, look for Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Or you can go to iTunes, iHeartRadio, you can go to Google Play and Spotify, and you will find my podcast, if you guys like podcasts. And I'm starting, from ground zero and working my way up on Podbean. So tomorrow I probably will do classical conditioning and how it applies, like to narcissistic folks and how they manipulate you and condition you. And so make sure you guys go check out my Podbean. And then, am I missing anything? Like, I'm talking to you guys live, right? Am I missing anything? Oh, purchase my book. It's Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Barnes & Noble. You can buy, and those, where are my moderators at? I don't have but one moderator that reached out to me. So, but my moderators, you guys contact me because I have a book for you. So, and they know who they are. Don't be sending me no emails. You're not a moderator. I know who you are. I know who they are. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. Make sure I didn't forget anything. I don't think I forgot anything. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. It's truly an honor and a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to talk to you guys and bringing you into my world of the military. Thank you so much. Hopefully you can apply this to your life and how these people have did you, have done you, have did it to you, have done it to you, have manipulated you, have hurt you. Hopefully this helps. Thank you guys so much. You guys go be great.